It's day 27 of my 75 hard journey. We're almost a month in. So, what better time to give you guys an update of how everything has been going and all of the challenges that I've been facing? We're going to find out if you can actually go through a transformation in just 27 days. Now, if you are new to this channel, if you haven't been following me on social media, let me quickly give you a recap of my 75 hard journey, my commitment. I committed to train twice a day for at least 45 minutes, drink a gallon of water per day, pick a diet, which in my case was eating whole foods, no ultra processed meals, no ultra processed snacks. I read 10 pages of a nonfiction book every day, and I take a progress pic every day, which we're about to look at. But before we go into the actual progress here, let me give you a bit of a backstory just so you understand what my goal was, why I did 75 hard, and that will also help you understand the different struggles that I faced. So in July of this year, 2025, I weighed 86.5 kilograms, which equals around 190 and a half pounds. And I was at 9.1% body fat, which I know because I actually did a DEXA scan. I was physically in the best shape of my life. I came off the back end of a kickboxing fight. So my training was on point. I was still training kickboxing like 3 times a week, lifting weights. My diet was pretty much on point. 90% of the time I was eating whole foods. I was having some snacks here and there, but overall, my diet was on point. Now, the thing is, at this point, I had shoulder issues in both my shoulders. It already started last winter and it didn't get better, but I kept pushing through it, telling myself that over the summer I would be traveling and partying a lot. So for 2 months, I would just take it easy to give my shoulders time to recover. And I fully expected them to be completely recovered by the end of the summer. So the plan was for 2 months, not train anything that goes on my shoulders, give my shoulders time to recover, have a blast, travel across Europe, and then go hard again from September to December with the goal to have another kickboxing fight in winter, a couple more kickboxing fights, do a lean bulk, so also gain some muscle, and ultimately be in even better shape next summer. So for the year 2026, I would then cut again. And by July next year, I wanted to do another DEXA scan, make sure that I'm at 9% body fat again, but have 2 or even 3 kilograms of more lean mass. That was the goal. Now, over the course of these 2 months in summer, the plan formed to do 75 hard. And here's why. I work a job as a corporate lawyer and I also have a coaching business. So my schedule is extremely full. Knowing that I would also do kickboxing, I thought it would be impossible for me to actually lift weights simply because there wouldn't be any way I could get myself to do it unless I had a hard goal to do it. That's how the idea was born to do 75 hard, because this way I have a hard commitment that I would actually prioritize. So the plan was born, and I decided that from early October until Christmas, for actually a little more than 75 days, for a total of 80 days, I would do 75 hard without fail, train twice a day, stick to my diet, and go hard. Now, the problem was, and before I get into the problem, let me tell you this. This is 2.5 months difference. Mid-July, this was beginning of October. So 2.5 months. What happened in between here is, again, I was traveling, I was having a blast, and I was eating a ton of pastries. So I gained 4 kilograms. My training was pretty much in maintenance mode. I did a couple runs here and there. I went to the gym a little bit, but I tried to take care of my shoulders and I didn't train with a lot of intensity or intent. So it was really in maintenance mode. So what you see here is a gain of 4 kilograms of body fat. And I look in a lot worse shape here than I look here. But the lean mass, my muscle mass, is unchanged. And this is actually something that a lot of people experience. I was in this kind of shape, probably even a little more body fat. I was hovering around 93 kilograms for years without much change. I was always trying to gain weight, to gain muscle and lose fat. So I was always in this state. And whenever I would cut or lose a bit of fat, I would feel like I was getting too skinny, and then I stopped the cut. But the reality is, you have to go through a phase where you have this fear of getting too skinny, and then all of a sudden your muscle starts to pop and you look a lot bigger again, even though you will keep dropping weight. And this is where the magic happens. So you have to go leaner than you are when you're worried of getting too skinny. You likely have to get a little more lean, and then your muscle will start pop. The muscle separation comes out everywhere and the muscles become visible, and all of a sudden you look a lot more muscular. And that is the crazy thing. So if you want to know more about how I did that, I'm actually going to link another video because I don't want to waste too much time here talking about this. It's going to be somewhere here where I share my entire method that I've used to actually get into that physique over the past 2 years. Now, the problem that I faced here in October was that even though I gave my shoulders 2 months to recover, my shoulder issues were still there. My shoulder pain hadn't gone. And so I was forced to reconsider whether I wanted to actually do 75 hard with the shoulder issues. But I had already committed to it and talked about it a lot, and I was kind of mentally focused on doing it and committed to doing it. So what I decided to do is I would give my shoulders more time to rest, but I would still do 75 hard. And for me, that meant I would not be able to do kickboxing because the punching would necessarily affect my shoulders. So instead of doing that, I would do 1 session of cardio per day, actually working on my cardio, which I really hated doing the last few years, so I never did it. So I would do that, and I would do 1 session strength training around my shoulder injury. So the goal was doing a lean bulk, gaining 0.3 to 0.5 kilograms per week, weigh in every single morning so I could average the weight over the week. Anyone that's weighed themselves every morning knows that there are huge fluctuations on a day-to-day basis, sometimes a kilogram or more per day, depending on how many carbs and salt you eat. I would eat whole foods only, and I would train around the shoulder issue. In the first week, I averaged 90.5 kilograms. Now, what happened is the second week, I actually averaged 90.4 kilograms. So I barely made any progress. And you can actually see it when you look at the pictures. We wouldn't expect a huge difference in 2 weeks, but you can see that nothing really changed, right? Nothing at all. So 2 weeks in, I had to have a talk with myself. Nothing changed. I hadn't been gaining weight. So why have I not been gaining weight? The reality is that over the last year, I had switched my diet to mostly eating whole foods, and I had been able to cut weight without tracking any calories. I hate tracking calories. I find it super annoying. So by switching to whole foods, and in the other video I tagged earlier, I'm also going to put the link in the bio. I talk about this a lot. If you eat whole foods, it's almost impossible to overeat. It's so easy to be lean by doing that if your diet mostly consists of whole foods. Now, I thought that because of how well I understood my diet at this point, it would be very easy for me to bulk by just eating more. But the reality is that eating whole foods, it is so difficult to overeat that I actually didn't manage to gain weight, even though I tried. And I was thinking that I was in a calorie surplus, but the weight scale doesn't lie. So the easiest thing for me would have just been to eat more. But I also had a bit of a switch in my attitude. I thought, well, I'm spending so much time on training. I'm investing so much time. I'm putting in so much effort on tracking everything, on writing everything down, on documenting everything. Why do I treat the weight gain like an amateur? I'm really just relying on the weight scale and hoping that my feeling of how much I'm eating is going to do it, just because I don't enjoy tracking. So I decided, let's treat this whole nutrition thing like a professional. Let's start acting like a pro, and a pro would track what they're eating. So 2 weeks in, I decided that I would start tracking my calories. And because I hated it so much to use these tracking apps where you type everything in, I actually started using ChatGPT to do it. I gave it a prompt. I make mostly my own food, so it's very easy to just tell it what I'm eating. I'm not taking pictures. I'm telling it what I'm eating, so it's very accurate. When I eat out, I will still tell it my estimate of what's in there. It might not be 100% accurate, but as long as I'm consistently incorrect in my estimations, it will still average out and it's fine. And it's amazing. I taught it to tell me what I can eat in my remaining meals for the day to still hit my protein targets based on what I ate the last few days. So assuming that I still have the same things in my fridge, and I'm loving it. If you want to have the prompt, shoot me a DM on Instagram and I'll send it over to you. It's really been a life changer because I started enjoying tracking my meals, and I will probably keep doing it. It literally takes 20 seconds per meal. And think about it. I was training twice a day for at least 45 minutes. I was making my own food and I was not willing to spend 20 seconds per meal. So a total of 60 seconds per day on tracking my food. That does not make any sense. It doesn't make any sense, right? So I started tracking, and lo and behold, over the third week, I gained a tiny bit of weight, realizing I needed to eat even more, increase my calories even more. Now, fourth week, it actually started kicking in and I started gaining proper weight. So I found the right point, the right number of calories, what I need to eat. And by tracking everything, it actually gave me enough data to do that. So now we're here at the end of week 4. I weighed in on average at 91 kilograms this week. And yeah, let's go from here. Now, one thing that happened here that was quite unfortunate, the end of week 3, is the realization that it had been another 3 weeks and my left shoulder didn't feel at all improved. So on Monday, I decided to go see a physiotherapist, and the physiotherapist told me that I couldn't train my upper body for at least 2 weeks, possibly even 3 weeks. So from that day on, I was basically faced with a choice. Do I stop doing 75 hard because I cannot train properly, or do I keep doing it without training hard? And of course, I'd already committed to it, so I decided, well, might as well keep doing it. It's a bit of a disappointment, and really, it felt unfortunate. It was such bad timing, but the reality is it's always bad timing, right? No matter when these things happen, we will always think, why does it happen right now? It's not a good timing. So I decided to keep doing one cardio session a day, and instead of doing weight training, I would only train the legs, and I would do physiotherapy sessions on top of that. So focusing on mobility and recovering my shoulder. And it is unfortunate timing, but as one of my best friends used to say, or still keeps saying, is it is what it is. So that's what I'm dealing with, and that's what I'm going for. So what transformation happened in 27 days? Well, as we would expect, there isn't much of a transformation yet. There is about half a kilogram more weight, so we're going to see a little more. But I do believe one thing that is quite visible here is that the last 4 weeks of improving mind-muscle connection and working on just getting better at moving my shoulders has actually improved my posture. I am standing way more straight. I always had like a slight disbalance here, and I think it is actually improving. You tell me. We're going to keep seeing how that goes, but I will keep working on this, which is actually something that I have already also been putting off for way too long. So let's keep working on the posture thing. Let's see how this goes. And while the transformation, the visible transformation, is pretty much negligible, there was a transformation that took place in my mind. And that came in the form of 3 takeaways that I would like to share with you guys. The first takeaway was that I decided to act like a professional, even though I am pretty much an amateur, right? I'm doing this for fun, mostly. I want to be in the best shape I can possibly be in and look the best I can while I'm doing it. But I'm by no means a professional. I'm not a professional bodybuilder. I'm not a professional fighter. But I do want to treat every aspect of my life as if I was a professional. Invest the 20 seconds to track my meals, because why not? What else am I going to do with these 20 seconds? It's 20 seconds that I invest towards one of the key pillars in my life, my health and well-being. Why not do that? Why not treat it like a professional? That's the thing. Most people are not willing to treat things like a professional, and they're just winging it at best. At best. Most people don't even know. Most people are not even aware of what needs to happen. But if you're aware of it and you're not treating it like a professional, you're probably saving 1% of time that will actually transform into 80% of your results if you just did that. It's insane, right? The second takeaway was having a fallback plan. So this is something that I've been preaching for a long time, most of my years-long consistency came from having a contingency plan, having a fallback plan, especially if you have a busy life. With my schedule, working as a corporate lawyer and having a coaching business, I knew that eventually there would be a day where I just wouldn't be able to make it to the gym because my work would go over schedule, something would come up. Same if you have a family or something like this, things will come up and they're not really unexpected if you know it's going to happen eventually, right? So planning for these events to happen and having a fallback plan is where the magic happens. This is really where consistency is made, where you can make sure that you are going to be consistent also in these cases. And I told myself, if I have to work too late and I cannot make it to the gym because the gym is already closed, I will, instead of doing a 45-minute session, I will go for a 1-hour extended walk, which is not the best workout, but it's better than not training at all. And it is a great fallback. It is something that I can always do, even if it's already past midnight, even whatever. I can do it before going to bed. So that was my fallback plan that would allow me to stay consistent. And the third takeaway is that reading is awesome. I didn't read enough in the past few years, kind of read so much for work and listened to audiobooks, but actually reading a physical book, reading 10 pages a day really gave me the pleasure again of taking it in and having it in front of me. And I'm really liking it. That is a habit that I will not drop after this for sure. I just found passion for reading again. So where is all of this going? We're 1 month in and the progress has been quite low, right? You could say, well, there's no visible progress yet. Now the shoulder injury comes on top, which is kind of sad. And we have about 2 more weeks highlighted in yellow here, where most likely I will not be able to go very intense. And then we have about a month, a little more, 5, almost 6 weeks actually, because there's 5 more days that are not on the list here, where I will be able to hopefully go hard again. Let's see. Now, what I tell myself is progress is progress, right? The progress might be low, but in reality, this might be a blessing in disguise. Because by not being able to train hard, but still going to the gym, still training, I am actually improving my mind-muscle connection. I'm improving my posture. I'm gaining better control over my body, and I'm improving my mobility. And all of this is going to help me long-term. It is going to help me have a better physique. It is going to work towards my long-term health. And I think really, if I look at it that way, it actually came as a blessing in disguise, because especially this week, my whole mind is geared towards getting the feeling of success, feeling successful whenever I perform, going in the gym, putting in a hard workout, pushing myself. So doing the opposite, having to go to the gym and doing like a very light mobility workout, for me, it felt wrong. It felt like I wasn't doing the right thing. It felt like, this is kind of cheating the 75 hard thing. But 75 hard is more than anything about your mind, reprogramming your mind, reprogramming what your mind rewards you for, reprogramming how your personality works. And if we really think about it rationally, what is giving me the greatest progress right now is fixing all of these things. It might not feel like a massive progress on a day-to-day basis, but in the big scheme of things, looking at it from today to the end of my life, this will set me up the best. It will set me up a lot better than training hard for another 3 weeks, which I will keep doing for the months to come. This will actually create the strongest foundation. And that is why I think really it's a blessing in disguise. Now, I'll leave you guys with that. I'll give you guys another update probably 2, 3, or 4 weeks from now. Until then, if you want to follow my journey, follow me on Instagram. The link is in the description, and I'll see you in one of my next videos.